to be realized.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's there. Oh, no, that's not all right.
No, it
A,
always
B,
goes
C.
to.
Yeah,
There you go. So we got the notification.
Yes.
Sounds like right now.
ABC search.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Mauna Vyakhya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam Varshishthante Vasat Rishiganai Avritam Brahmanishtai Acharyendram Karakalita Chinmudram Anandarupam Swatma Ramam Mudita Vadanam Dakshinamurti Vatavitapi Samipe Bhumi Bhage Nishannam Sakala Muni Jananam Jnanadhatharam Arat Tribhuvana Gurumisham Dakshinamurti Devam Jananamarna Dukkha Cheta Daksham Namami Chitram Vatataror Mule Vriddha Shishya Guru Yuva Gurostu Maunam Vyakhyanam Shishyatu Chinna Samshaya Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam Bhishaje Bhavaroginam Gurave Sarva Lokanam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bahirivot Bhutam Yatha Nidraya Yat Sakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanamevadvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Bijasyantarivānkuro jagadidam prāṅ nirvikalpam punaha maya kalpita desha kala kalana vaichitriya chitri kritam maya viva vichrambhayatyapi maha yogi vayasvechaya tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Yasyaiva Spuranam Sadatmakam Asatkalparthakam Bhasate Sakshat Tattvamasi Veda Vachasa Yo Bhut Sushuptah Puman Prak Sakshat Karanat Bhavena Punara Vrittir Bhavambo Nidhau Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Nana Chitragato Stitamaha Deepa Prabha Bhaswaram Jnanam Yasya Tu Chakshuradi Karanadvara Vahispandate Janami Titameva Bhantam Anubhatyetat Samastam Jagat तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये देहं प्राणमपीन्द्रियानपि चलां बुद्धिं च शून्यं विदुः स्त्रीबालान्दजडोपमास्त्वहमिति भ्रान्ताभृशं वादिनः मायाशक्तिविलासकल्पितमहा व्यामोहसंहारिणे तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये राहुग्रस्तदिवाङ्करेन्दुसदृशो मायासमाच्छादनात् सन्मात्रः करणोपसंहरणतो यो भूत्सुषुप्तः पुमान् प्रागस्वाप्समिति प्रबोधसमये यः प्रत्यभिज्ञायते तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बाल्यादिष्वपि जाग्रदादिषु तथा सर्वास्वस्थास्वपि व्यावृत्तास्वनुवर्तमानमहम् इत्यन्तःस्फुरन्तं सदा स्वात्मानं प्रकटीकरोति भजतां यो मुद्रया भद्रया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये विश्वं पश्यति कार्यकारणतया स्वस्वामिसम्बन्धतः शिष्याचार्यतया तथैव पुत्राध्यात्मना भेदतः स्वप्ने जागृति वा य एष पुरुषो माया परिभ्रामितः तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये भूरम्भांस्य नलो नीलो अम्बर्महर्नार्थो हिमा. Oh, did we miss the Vishwam Pashyati? No, we did that, sorry. Bhurambhamsya nalo nilo ambar maharnartho himam shufpuman ityabhati characharatmakamidam yasyaiva murtyashtakam nanyat kinchina vidrate vimshatam यस्मात् परस्मात् विभोः तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये सर्वात्मत्वमिति स्फुटीकृतमिदं यस्मादमुष्मिंस्तवे तेनास्य श्रवणात् तदर्थमननात् ध्यानात् च संकीर्तनात् सर्वात्मत्वमहाविभूतिसहितं स्यादीश्वरत्वं स्वतः सिद्ध्येतत्पुनरष्टधा परिणतं चैश्वर्यमव्याहतम्. Since there are only 10 verses, I encourage you to actually commit it to memory. Do this a few times and it will become easy, and then at least you have the words down, and then the meanings as we see will become more apparent as soon as you start chanting. It will be a very nice thing to do. On long Upanishads it's probably difficult for us to do, but for this 10 verse text I do think it would be nice if you could do that. So we are doing the third verse. Yasya eva sphuranam sadatmakam asatkalparthakam bhasate sakshat tattvamasi vedavachasa yo bodhayati bodhayati iti ashrayatan yat sakshat karanat bhaven bhavet na punaravrittihi bhavambo nidhau tasmai Shri Gurumurtaye namaha Shri Dakshinamurtiye. So, as we saw in the last class, there is a certain flow in this explanation, how the first and the second and the third verses are arranged. So in the first verse, as I had, for your recollection, there are a couple of things to remember. One is that even though the two main aspects of the Atma that we should completely understand, the two aspects are Satta and Spurati. So Satta means the isness, that something is. Something is called Satta or Satyam. All the same words, different grammatical construction, but the same word, Sat or Satyam or Satta. So that just is there's nothing peculiar about it. You just have to know if there is something. If there is something, is there a chair? Is there a person? Yes, I see it, and so yes, there is. So this is an interesting thing to see, that the presence of something is set up by your awareness. It is meaningless to say something is without your being aware of it. That is just away from you, and you can see people's ideas that yes, there is something out there, but you don't see it. So in terms of your ability to see it, your seeingness sets up the seeingness of something sets up its presence. So this is what is called Satta, which is isness, it is there. And Spurati or awareness or Jnanam, all the same thing. So Chit, Jnanam, Spurati, Spuranam, all these are talking about the knowledge. So the knowledge, the awareness and the presence are one and the same. They are one and the same. There are two different aspects of the thing, and this is true for the Atma also. Except that in the case of the Atma, I am not clear about its presence. The way the Atma is explained in the Shastra, which is that it is timeless, never born, and not possible for it to die. This explanation of the Atma so look at this, it is neither known to me, nor is I can say it is there. So the Satta and the Spurati of the Atma is unknown to me at this moment. And as we have seen, the Satta and Spurati is a very of myself as I am is an unknown thing, which is a very strange thing. It's a very strange thing, because if there is a Satta and Spuranam of a remote thing, there you can say that I don't know it, I have not seen it, I don't know if it exists, and so on. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about myself. This is a very strange thing. This is just incredible. Yet I am unaware. I mean, I am aware, but in a very erroneous way, not the way the Shastra tells us. That's not the truth of myself. I'm unaware of it, and I don't see the presence of it. Anyway, so these are the two things that we have to really zero in on, Satta and Spurati. Satta and Spuranam, as we'll be talking more directly today. So anyway, just to put the last two verses in context. What I would say, what I started to say is that even though the two aspects of the Atma, and in fact two aspects of anything, not just of the Atma, two aspects of the presence of table, presence of a chair, presence of a person, all being dependent on Satta and Spurati. Those are two aspects that are inseparable, but you have to look at it from a different angle. Even though that is the case, in verse number 1 and in the next few verses, the one aspect which is highlighted is knowledge. Then the Satta will be highlighted a little bit later. So it's not as though, as I mentioned in the last class also, that it's not as though you don't mention the other one. They are all together, so how can you not mention? But you can accentuate the presence of one thing over the other. And in that accentuation was done for the knowledge of the Atma. So in the first verse, just to close off, the first few verses are accentuating the Chit Swarupam. After that, we will accentuate the Sat Swarupam. This is what I'm saying. Now, in addition to that, there is another aspect of this explanation, and that is your personal experience and how the experience is created by Ishvara. This is the other dimension. You can look at it as kind of like a two-dimensional network. So one dimension has to talk about Satta and Spuranam, and the other dimension is Jiva versus Ishvara. So if you look at the second dimension, which is Jiva versus Ishvara, and in a way you can say Karya versus Karanam. Karya means the effect and Karanam means the cause, how it is done. If you look at that dimension, then the first verse was highlighting the Jiva's Jiva. So Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam, etc. That how this phenomena actually occurs. That even though you are Pratyak Swarupam, Atma is Pratyak Swarupam, means that it is never manifest, but it is manifest in some form. So it's just like even though the town, all the activity of the town, the colors and the movement and the cars passing by and so on, really are not in the mirror. They are not contained in the mirror, but they appear to be on the mirror. And so that is the representation of the Atma in the way it is manifest, even though it is not manifest. It doesn't touch it. So this is the aspect of the first verse that was created, that was discussed. Then the Karana Swarupa, which is Ishvara, was discussed in the second verse. And that is Bijasya Antarivankuro Jagadidam Prang Nirvikalpam Punaha Maya Kalpita Desha Kalana Kalana Vaichitra Chitri Kritam Mayavi Iva Mahayogi Iva Vijrambayati Api Yah Svechaya Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namai Dakshinamurti. That how it is magic. It is magic. So don't start looking for particles. So there is no truth to the whole creation. So if you start analyzing it through particles, how did the particles come about? As though the particles created this whole thing. The particles may be involved in the creation. Of course they are involved. So whether you have what kind of a substance it is it a liquid, is it a solid, all of that means that it is all dependent on particles. And we're not saying that. But what we're talking about, as though the particles are the real cause of this whole creation. It is not. Because it is just magic. There's no reality to the world. Just like a dream is also a magic. Don't start looking for, I saw a car that I really liked in my dream. Where is it? There's no reality to it. It's there. So exactly that was pointed out, that the Ishvara creates from a seed to the manifestation and then rolls it back. And the seed is still there in some kind of a form, not visible. So manifestation and unmanifestation is something which is magic on the hands of Ishvara. And so we appreciate that this has a lot of implications. When the whole thinking about magic means that there is a lot of implication about this, as we will sketch it further. This is just the foundation. Anyway, so the first verse is about jiva, how this phenomena occurs. The second one is about Ishvara's doing it. And Ishvara, who is within yourself as an antaryami, is not as though he's doing it from outside, but as just like a wave expresses itself through water alone. So similarly, the human being also expresses itself through the antaryamitvam of Ishvara. Anyway, so both the karana and karya was talked about. So this is the progression from verse number 1 and verse number 2. So now in verse number 3, as you know, the title of the verse number 3 is Advaita, Atma Advaitam. That really speaking, the Ishvara and Jiva, the content of the two is the same. Even though there is a relationship between the Jiva and the Ishvara as a dual entity. Because when you pray, you don't pray to yourself. You pray to Ishvara as something different from you. And even though there is a relationship which is dual, but really the dual part of the relationship is temporary. It is temporary. Just like if there is a troublesome, or not troublesome, but a troubled wave. A troubled wave who says, I've had it. I'm ready to commit suicide. And no one really likes me, and I can't live, and so on and so forth. Like this is a wave talking. So then it's very possible, I can postulate, where the ocean says, please, don't worry about it. You and I are not different, even though I am the whole ocean. He says, yeah, that's easy for you to say. You have got the whole ocean, I'm just a little person. I know. You just pray to me, I'll make everything okay. Just believe in me. So finally the wave says, all right, I don't have any else to believe. This is my last resort. I will now believe in you. But when you believe in the ocean, it is a dual form. There's a small wave, and then there is the big ocean. And then once you calm down, means that once your mind, and this is exactly what we need to do, by the way. This is not just an empty example. Not an empty example. I think what we need to do in our life is we need to cool it. Because right now we are very anxious. What's going to happen to me? Where's my life going? This, that, or the other. And nothing seems to really work for me. So I do go to the Ganesh temple and I pray, and gives me some solace and so on. And Ishvara says, I know. At least give you some temporary solace. Continue cooling your mind down. And while you're cooling your mind down, study me. Study yourself. You're just coming up with some conclusions that are hastily reached and not truthful. Just like somebody says, I'm ready to commit suicide, nobody likes me. And so then he's given some therapeutic treatment through some doctors who says, we all feel, so this is what happens. The best way that a therapist can talk to this guy and say, something, this is very normal to all of us. This is, everybody feels, you think you are the only one that are doing it? No. And this is true also. Not make-believe. You think that my life is perfect? No, it's not. So the only difference is that you are right now in a rush of your Rajasic mind, you are ready to commit suicide, whereas I am just keeping it cool. So just keep it cool, you'll be okay. And after a while, the person goes over that. So anyway, the Vedanta is telling us that please cool it and just study. And as you study, it is like an ocean telling a wave. Right now, you are looking at me as a dual person away from you. If you keep studying it, you will find there is no difference between you and I. No difference means that our roles are different. I am the whole ocean. I've got to figure out how the rains and this, that, or the other. You are just a node. So that part is different. But where it really counts, your longevity, my longevity, my nature, your nature. So the intrinsic quality rather than incidental quality. Intrinsic quality is the same. Don't you see that, you fool? And first he says, no, I don't see it, but pretty soon the duality turns into non-duality. And so this is exactly what it is called, Sakshat Tattvamasiti Veda Vachasa. The Vedas, the Mahavakya of the Vedas finally gets to me. So the teacher says, you are the very Atma which Ishvara is made out of. There is only one Atma. And the one Atma which is the only thing which is Chaitana. The only thing which is effulgent. So we will go into this. This is very interesting. This is something to understand. The only thing which is Atma is the only effulgent. So when you say I, your effulgence. Effulgence means you're not dead. Your liveliness. You're alive. That you. And when I say I am effulgent, it is the same effulgence. And when Ishvara says I am effulgent, it is the same effulgence. There's only one effulgence. Everything else is inert. And so this is the topic of the third verse that we are now embarking on. And so the purpose of the third verse is Advaitam. Atma Advaitam. Atma and the Ishvara, the perceived and the perceiver are one and the same. There is no big difference between them. This is the purpose of the third verse. So to start the third verse, there is a question asked by a person who says, I don't get it. I had written some cheat sheet notes for myself, but I left it on my desk. But anyway, I think I can remember it. Okay. So if you ever have a chance to read some of these Manasa Ullasa verses, the first verse summarizes this doubt. It says, Satta spuratte bhaveshi kuta agatya sangate bimbadi darpana nyayadi tattvam prichan prabodhyate. So he says, wait a second. He says that you are saying that the isness and the knowledge are the qualities of the drashta, not that of the drishya, not what is seen, but that of the seer. Aren't you saying that? We said yes. So the guna of the guna means the quality of beingness and knowingness. Because a chair has a quality of beingness and a knowingness. How does it have that quality? Because we can ask somebody, is there a chair in that room? And you say, yes, there is a chair. How do you know there is a chair? Yeah, I saw it. It has its visibility. It has visibility. There's something is shining. And it also has the presence. So how can you say it's not there? Now you come along and tell me that the beingness and the knowingness belongs to the drashta, to the seer, not to the seen. How is that? I don't get it. He says, it's possible. You are saying that the seen thing is a copy of the seer. And there are two typical examples given in here. Okay? So the two examples are, let's look at both the examples. So one example is that a person it's too high, and his or her reflection in the mirror. This is what is called bimba and pratibimba. Pratibimba means bimba means the original, the person standing in front of the mirror, and pratibimba means the reflection visible in the screen. So this is one example. So he says, are you telling me this is how it is? So we say, yes, pretty much this is how the Atma is reflected in as a visible thing. So the visible thing, which is me, the visible me, is not the real me. It is a copy of the real me. Right? This is what we're saying. So he says, I don't get that. Because in the case of the person and the reflection, it has two defects. So the two defects are, you say the Atma is Sarva-Vyapaka. So Sarva-Vyapaka means, let me write it down. Sarva-Vyapaka means that it is present everywhere. But that is not the case with the reflection in a mirror. That's not possible. So you cannot be like the reflection in the mirror. This is number one. The other one is, so cross this one. This doesn't apply. The other one is niravayavatva. Niravayavata means that formlessness. So in order to have a reflection, you need to have, the bimba has to have a form. How can you have a formless thing being reflected? To cross that one. So don't give me this example. This doesn't apply to me. I don't understand it. I don't get it. So this is one thing. So this is the first example. Then there is a very famous second example, which is a iron ball placed in fire. And so the phenomena that occurs is that it results, if you do this for a while, if you keep the iron ball, which is cold and is not luminous, but if you keep it in hot fire for quite a while, then it acquires the luminosity and the heat of the fire. So it becomes a red hot, luminous fire. Red hot, luminous ball. As though the fire is now round. And as though the ball has become, if you put the iron ball from a fire and you take it with some tongs and you put it in a dark room, it will illuminate the whole room. Okay? Here also, the question is that the same things apply there also. That you can do it for, the phenomena are slightly different, but they are similar. One is to get a copy of the person in the mirror, and the other one is the quality of a fire into something which is not inherently does not have that quality. The phenomena are the same, but the objection remains the same. In both cases, you don't have sarva-vyapakata and you don't have niravayata. It is not, because it's very formful. You can do that with a formful. But you say that the Atma is Sarva Vyapakaha and it is Niravayavaha. I do not get that. And so, therefore, this verse is there to point this out. Yasya eva sphuranam sadatmakam asatkalparthakam bhasate sakshat tattvamasidi veda vachasa. So this verse is given, and then it is explained in different ways in the following verses. That, believe it or not, this is exactly the phenomena it is. So don't reject it. I know at the very outset it doesn't look like it is relevant, but it is relevant. And how it is relevant is being explained in all of this. So what is pointed out, different ones is pointed out. One of them is that when you look at an object, you are really looking at the interplay of light in that object. It is, so when you're looking at a chair, what is happening is that the chair is reflecting the light in different ways. If it is a black chair, then the reflection is not very good. If it has some light color ones, then the reflection is good. Black one absorbs it. And the different shapes, if you look at this chair, it has some aluminum parts, some black parts, some light parts. So really it is the interplay of light. You cannot see the presence of objects without light. So, because it doesn't happen. So, because you'll say, what is this? You'll say, this is a chair. So when you say it is a chair, you're not lying, but you're missing a most important part, which is that light is falling on it. So therefore we can say, really speaking, and so another example of this is an important one, is that when you are seeing a movie, really what you are seeing is the interplay of light on the screen. And the interesting thing about that is that the source of light is unchanging. It's very steady. If the light itself is flickering, then you won't be able to see the movie very well. So the light is steady and unflickering. But through the movement of the film, some kind of a phenomena is given. And that phenomena also has to be very precise, because if you move the film at too slow a rate, then the various frames of the light will appear disparate. If you do it too fast, you won't see the change. So it has to be done just right. But if it's done right, then you have some enjoyment. People are shaking hands, hero and the heroine meet, and they hug each other, and then there is a crowd. All these kinds of things happen. And really the light, which is the responsible, so for example, supposing, as it happens in India, your power goes off. When the power goes off, the original light is gone. Where is the film? Where is the movement? People start whistling and saying, you, this, that, all kinds of things happen. But really speaking, to make the film go, you need a steady light. And so therefore, this whole phenomena of the world is like a movie of the Atma. It's a movie of the Atma. So it is really it's nothing but, so just look at this. This is an important thing to see. It's really something we should really think about. When you see something, anything, when you have an experience of anything, you should see there is a steady consciousness which is creating that scene. You cannot have anything going on except for you providing the light and the consciousness, steady consciousness. And the interesting thing is that in the case of a movie, if you wanted to prove to someone that, the movie is really created by a steady light. Supposing you're telling a youngster and you say, do you know how this whole thing happens? And he says, how? This is a steady light that is creating this. And the youngster says, I don't believe it. What are you talking about? These things are just done on this. And he says, no, I don't believe it. So he says, shall I show it to you? Let me turn off the projector. And then the youngster can say, oh, the projector is on, the movie is on. The projector is off, the movie is off. He says, done deal, okay, I understand it. You cannot do this with the Atma. Because if it is possible to turn off the Atma, who will show what to whom? Nothing will remain. And you cannot do it. This is called Satyam. Satsvarupam. Satsvarupam means which is not possible to turn off. And in fact, this is what creates the problem for us in our life. It is so prevalent that we miss it. Because in the case of sunlight, when it becomes dark, we say, oh, there's the sun has set. The source of light is gone. So you can turn it off. Can you turn yourself off? Never. Nothing can be turned off. Nothing. The only thing you can think of is that when I am dead, then I am off, then I am dead. No, that's not true either. Because all that happens is that when you are dead, for a while there is nothing to show. You see? It's not just like in a sleep also. You are not dead. Your Atma is not turned off. It is always there. But the reflection is turned off. As I have mentioned it to you, this was something that I had to really think about it much later on. And I didn't know this. That really speaking, the reason why these astronauts, when they go into deep space away from the stratosphere, there is complete darkness. And why is there complete darkness? Why? Because the sun is there always. Now, what happens is that the sun also has limited range. So the light cannot reach the entire universe. But there are other suns. So there is that extra complication. There are other suns. So the whole universe is always lighted. Always lighted. But it is possible for the light of the sun to be turned off and turned on. You can do that by just closing your eyes. It's that simple. Or by having the night. Or closing the doors or something. That you can do. You cannot do it with the Atma. Cannot do that with the Atma. And so, going back to that example of the night, so what happens is that even though there is a sunlight in the deep space also, when the astronauts go there, they find there's complete darkness. Complete darkness. Why is it? Because what is seen to be lighted are air particles. Diffraction of the light through the air particles creates the simulation of light. That doesn't mean that the source is not there, but there is nothing reflected in deep space because the particles become so sparse above the stratosphere that there is nothing to reflect it. So what it really means is, please, and this is something you should meditate on, honestly, that any experience is possible because any experience should tell you that you are there as a steady light. So don't look for an experience-free existence. Not necessary. Swami Maheshananji points out, there was this beautiful commentary by him where he said, people believe that becoming a Mahatma is very difficult. Very difficult. And Atma is nowhere to be found. And all these kinds of funny ideas. And he says, my goodness, there is nothing easier than to see the Atma. Nothing easier in the whole world. It is as simple as that, as easy as that. Because it's just that due to my non-introduction, I am only focused on people and experiences. And then as I'm doing it, I'm also focused on my human experience. It is just like a wave who's just looking at other waves and looking at itself as a wave and completely misses the fact that we are all made out of the same water. Amazing. So Maheshanji says, once you really understand this, you cannot miss it. All you can say is that my mind is not grasping it at the moment. Then I did meditation, I felt good. All those kinds of things you can do. But you are unchanging, steady. Don't you see it? And really speaking, everything else is jadam. So here, this is another thing to see. So if you look at, before I go to that, I want to point out something else along with this. Is an important thing to see. in verse number 2 of the Manasa Ullasa, it says, Asat kalpeshu bhaveshu jadeshu kshananashishu astitvam cha prakashatvam nityat sankramati ishwarat. This is the Sanskrit verse. And let's look at, if you want to look at the English translation of that, I don't know how good it is, but let me. Number 2. So the English translation done by Mahadeva Shastri is, the existence and light in all phenomenal things which are insentient, momentary and almost non-existent. Funny set of words, almost non-existent. Proceed from the eternal Ishvara and become conjoined with them. This is the English translation. So he says, Asat kalpeshu bhaveshu. Asat kalpeshu means, as we saw in the last class, the mithya. The all objects which are mithya. Mithya meaning they are neither sat nor asat. Did we actually go through that? Don't forget. Yeah. I think this, I've already done this, but let me repeat it here. So it says asat kalpeshu. So asat kalpeshu means one which is not almost non-existence, which is neither existent nor non-existent. So like like a shape of a cup in a clay cup. So the clay cup is neither non-existent nor is it existent like the clay. It is somewhere in between. So this is the meaning of asat kalpeshu. Bhaveshu. Bhaveshu means all the things that you experience. Jadeshu kshanananishu. And I'll come to that in a minute. Astitvam cha prakashatvam nityat sankramati ishwarat. This is the verse. So he says, what happens is, so there are, if you look at the analogy of the person looking itself in the mirror, so bimba, bimba meaning the only one. There is only one bimba. You as a bimba are non-different from me as a bimba. You as a pratibimba is different than me as a pratibimba. But the bimba is the same. There is only one bimba, which is Brahman, which is Ishvara. And this bimba has you can say it has these qualities. Satyatvam. Meaning, it is, you can even say, never not there. So Bimba is the only one which is also the Atma. Atma means I. And as we saw that earlier, it is never not there. And Prakashatvam. Means always effulgent. Self-luminous. Self-existing and self-luminous.
Shwa. Shwa is missing. Prakashvat.
Kashatvam. Anyway, I don't know why it's not working. Self-luminous. You are no one need to tell you that you are there. You are there because you are there. Now, what you are, somebody has to maybe tell you, including yourself. But the fact that you are there is self-luminous. I am. And I am aware. I am awareful. This is natural, self-existing. This is how this whole creation is set up. So really speaking, this is the intrinsic quality of you. This is exactly what the water in the ocean is. I am and I am effulgent. Okay? Now, let us look at your erroneous identity. Meaning your meanness. This is me, ahankara. And then furthermore, body mind. Prana. Being alive, breathing. So your erroneous identity, which is your reflection. So unlike you, the bimba, in fact we can say here, pratibimba. So unlike bimba, which has satyatvam and prakashatvam, unchanging nityatvam, nityatvam, satyatvam, so we can even add nityatvam. Sorry, this is kind of like messy. I should do a better job. So if we want to, let's do it this way. I'll summarize it for here. Yeah, let's do it this way. We'll have a clean version of this. So one is the original. The other one is the copy, pratibimba. Right? Look at three aspects of these. One is bimba is nitya. And as the verse number 2 says, it is Shananashi, means, so this is what is called Jagat Gacchati Jayate. As it is born, it is going. In English, this would be called momentary. There is nothing fixed in the pratibimba. So one is the nityatvam and anityatvam, if you want to call it this way. One is nityaha, the another one is anityaha. Right? And the second one is this is satyam. Satyam means it is. It independently is. And this one is asat kalpaha. It appears to be real, but cannot stand enquiry. Like a reflection in the mirror, it appears to be like you, but you can't touch it. It's not real. And a cup, you cannot remove it from the clay. So this is the meaning of the asat kalpakam sat. So now let me finish the third one and then I'll connect it to the verse. In some way this is really remarkable, this third one I'm about to tell you. So one is it is effulgent. And so you can say that this is prakashatvam. Prakashatvam means sphuranam. Spuranam means self-effulgent. And this one is Jadam. Inert. What is inert? Pratibimbam. All bimbas are self-effulgent. There is only one bimba, so when you cannot say all, one without a second. That is, we all are nothing but the very form of Brahman, which is self-effulgent. You don't need anything. Never possible to be changed. And all of your perceived erroneous conclusions are jadam. They have the ability to reflect, but they do not. It's kind of like jadam, meaning that if you have an iron ball, fire is independently hot and independently luminous, whereas an iron ball can be luminous, but not by itself. A reflection in the mirror can look like you, but it is very dependent on so many factors. The mirror has to be held steady. It cannot break. It is really not you. Whereas you are independent of the mirror. So therefore, through these kinds of explanations, it is shown the Atma Advaitam. There is only one Atma, one Sakshi. And there is nothing else, because everything else is a lower form of reality. The lower form of reality, it is in the same degree of reality, there is nothing else. So when you look yourself in your mirror that has multiple mirrors, there may be 30 of you, but there is not 30 of you. You cannot count the mirror reflections to be on the same level as you. It's a lower form of reality. You may have a dream in which you are, it's possible, in fact, that you can undergo a lot of tribulations, problems, as it happens every night. But it is not multiple you. It's a lower form of reality. Pratibimba is a lower form of reality. It is not the same reality. There's only one real you, which is Atma, which is Paramatma, which is Jivatma. You can call it anything. It's only one, which is the Atma. So Atma Advaitam. The Advaita means there is no real Dvaitam. There is a perceived Dvaitam, but in reality there is no Dvaitam. It is Advaitam. And this is how the whole creation of Ishvara, what a marvelous creation. He creates the possibility of, it is not a creation also, this is a natural thing which has been going on. This is how the Ishvara is. As we have said before, when Ishvara is not understood, there is a perceived reality. When the Ishvara is understood, when the Ishvara is not understood, there is Dvaitam. When the Ishvara is understood, there is Advaitam. This is how it is. So this is the purpose of the third verse. And we will continue with the analysis of this theme, but I think the important concepts of the third verse, I think we've already covered today. The rest of it will be simply confirming it, giving it some color, and maybe some other examples that will come and so on. But this is the essence of the third verse. Yasya Sphuranam. In fact, we can just read it very quickly. So, just look at that. Yasya eva Sphuranam. Let me look at in the translation that I did. Okay, so you look at the English translation. To that effulgent being whose consciousness, which is existence itself, yasya eva sphuranam sadatmakam, to that being whose consciousness is its, I need to probably change the English a little bit, is existence itself illumines the objects that just appear to exist, even though they don't. A lot of this can be redone in terms of the grammar. And who teaches his disciples Vedic sentences such as, you are that effulgent being, non-different from me, and through the teaching of which the disciples are freed from the never-ending experience of samsara. To that Shiva, as the original teacher, may my salutations be accepted. We'll go over that perhaps one more time, just to clarify that. Om asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, nityo ma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Yeah.
Most of these analogies and examples, they use only the vision perception. It should be applicable equally to your hearing, your sense of smell.
Yeah,
taste,
it
and
does.
such.
It's all equally. Yeah, you're right. That example is just given in terms of vision itself only, yes. But it applies to all the senses, everything. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so all the experiences of the sense organ. In fact, that will come a little bit more in the next few verses, where the experience of something, either by vision, by seeing something, or by hearing, how that happens will be taken up more particularly. So I think that we will see that in a bit more fact. But I think you're right that in general, we just use this as an example of all the senses, just because of the clarity. Did you want to make a...
Yeah, can
Sure,
I
please. Yeah.
So as you all know, Swami Vidyatatmanaji is coming next week. We normally used to be able to set up on Sunday afternoon, but this time the Jain temple will not allow us to do that. So the only window of time that we have to set up before the classes is 12 to 1:30 on Monday. And I know a lot of you are working, it's hard to get off, but whoever can, please, please, please come and give us a hand, because we have a limited amount of time. They will close the temple at 1:30 and then they will not open at 6:30. So, thank you very much.
To set up the chairs also.
Yeah.